Did you guys hear what hear what happened to Bret Weinstein on Clubhouse?
No, what happened?
You heard about some activist came in, and Bret Weinstein is an evolutionary biologist, right? Is that this is? Yes. And they were like, "You mean eugenicist?" And he was like, "Wait, what? No, we know what it means. You're a eugenicist. Evolution is like, they don't believe in evolution now."
She was like, "I'm Jewish. I'm not sure if I'm white or not. It's kind of a weird issue." And they were like, "You're a spicy white."
What? Are you serious?
Oh, she got a quote.
I died. I was laughing so
They
hard.
called him spicy white.
Yeah.
Spicy white.
You're just a spicy white.
What the?
Dude,
I laughed
amazed by
so
this.
hard.
check this out. This is the creepiest thing ever.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So, mentioning them calling Bret Weinstein, they actually called him spicy white?
Yeah, it was
that
a
is
spicy
I
white.
want to hear it.
Jeez.
I was laughing.
Were you
That's
in
all
the
I-
Clubhouse?
No, I saw a clip of it on Twitter, and I started
So
listening to it. And I was
They
like,
called Bret Weinstein this?
yeah.
Jeez.
Because he was explaining that he's not sure if he's technically white or
He's
not because
Jewish.
Jewish people were oppressed by Europeans, and he's going on and on. And she goes, "You're just a spicy white." It
I think these
tickled me.
people,
It's hilarious.
I think they're anti-Semites.
Yep.
I think, we've long talked about, say, like Farrakhan.
Mm-hmm.
We know these people have almost identical beliefs to the white identitarians.
Yep.
Many of them are fascistic. Many of them believe in racial segregation. Now we have this from the Sacramento City Unified School District. Your head's going to explode when you hear this, my friends. If you have any liberal friends who don't believe you, send them this website and have them read this. Now, you got to be careful because these people in these tribes desperately want to believe it. And I'll tell you what happened. First, let me read this for you. And I got to be very careful because if any of this gets taken out of context, as if I said it, wow. Check it out. They write, and again, this is a Sacramento City School District anti-racist classroom. Racial affinity groups offer a structure of inquiry and can address many needs. They support us in exploring what has been forbidden, forgotten, and unhealed. Okay, forbidden. Remember that word. For example, in racial affinity groups, white people can discover together their group identity. They can cultivate racial solidarity and compassion and support each other in sitting with the discomfort, confusion, and numbness that often accompany white racial awakening. What?
I don't know, dude. I'm an American.
Right. I know, right?
Wait,
Let's
what?
just be
Why?
Americans
Hold
together.
on. Why is the school trying to tell these classrooms to teach white people to find their white racial identity, to have a white racial awakening? That doesn't sound like
segregationists.
Sounds
I
like
mean,
KKK.
it sounds like the Klan.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. It gets better.
Oh boy.
This is so I posted this on Instagram. That last bit I highlighted. Someone posted it on Reddit, and the moderator was like, "This is a lie. Here's the full context." They added this part. They can also discern white privilege and its impact without the aid of or dependence of people of color. White people who have formed racial affinity groups report they recognize their collective commonality and shared history, as well as the impact that their privilege has had on other races and on each racial affinity group member. Okay. Do you know what happens to white racial groups when they're only... hold on. What would you call it?
sorry.
What would you call
I
it?
love it.
When a group of white people come together to share their history and talk about the impact the white race has had on the world and have a common and shared experience as they awaken to the reality of their race. What do you call that when those groups go? A Klan meeting, maybe?
Uh-huh.
Racist?
Yep.
I mean...
Racist AF.
I don't know if it's discriminatory
White
unless they're keeping
supremacist.
people out, but this is the school doing it. So I guess regardless of how you do it, if you're, racist. Here's the best part. They try and make it seem like that last sentence is somehow absolving them of what they're saying. Like white people recognize their collective commonality and shared history, the impact of their privilege. When you take a bunch of white people who are aggrieved, who are being bullied or told that they're wrong and bad and they feel bad, and then you put them in a group of a bunch of other white people, the memes have always been the birth of the alt-right. There's a comic that shows a bunch of, different raced people. They're like stick figures, and they have flags and rainbow flag, and they're yelling at a white guy, "Get out, F you." And so the white guy looks in the other direction, and he sees a bunch of white people, and he says, "Okay." And so that was a meme that was pointing out all of this critical race theory stuff is doing is telling white people that the only place you'll feel comfortable and safe is in white racial affinity groups. For the longest time, I've been warning the goal of what the critical race theory stuff is doing is making people white supremacist. It's going to make them vote along racial lines to benefit white people. And then the left says, oh, but they're talking about white privilege, white privilege. Regular people don't know what that means. Regular Americans, middle class, working Americans who are white have no idea what you're talking about. All they're going to hear is, you're bad, go hang out with a bunch of white people. They will. And then once you pass identitarian law, they'll be like, okay, we're going to vote for identitarianism. When they say they're going to share their history and the impact their privilege has had on other races, do you think they'll be thinking of themselves negatively or positively?
Why would they think of themselves negatively?
Why would a bunch of white people get together and say, hey, you know all that bad stuff we did? Or what if they got together and said, look at all that awesome stuff we invented? You'll get the Proud Boys. I mean, they're not a white racial affinity group, but they'll say, the West is best. Look at the things we created. The Western world made everything great. Why wouldn't you get that from a bunch of, white bros hanging out high-fiving each other? They're telling all of these kids, they're indoctrinating kids to have a white racial awakening. And when I tell people that's no different from the Klan or white supremacy, they say, oh, you're crazy. We're the good guys. We're allowed to do it.
Well, Cornell University was, they just announced a rock climbing class. Campus Reform actually got them to change the description of the course when they reached out for comment. But they had a rock climbing class that was for everyone except white people. And so, I mean, they're pushing for segregation. They want segregation. And I keep thinking about that comedian that I know you're friends with who...
Ryan Long?
Yeah, he has that video, and they're both like, we want segregation.
Oh, the woke and the racist guy.
Woke and racist, yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? Fine, whatever.
I keep thinking of the IRA, the British and the Irish, and they were all white. But they had massive, because of religion in that case, the Catholics, a massive conflict, murder and desecration of each other, regardless of their skin color. It was a religious thing. So like saying that white people have a shared history is insanity. Humans have fought each other for reasons unbeknownst.
It's a little bit more than that. I mean, the Irish were basically enslaved by the British for a really long time.
Yeah, they were like tribal.
Religion played a role, but when I went to Belfast in Northern Ireland, what do they call it? The Peace Wall? Is that what it's called? I forgot what it's called. So. It's the craziest thing. On one side, it's like the pro-Northern Ireland people are saying that they're the true descendants of Israel. And on the other side, there's paintings defending Palestine. And I was asking this local, I was like...
the one struggle thing.
What is that?
One struggle.
For Palestine or whatever?
It's the IRA people and then Palestine. There's like a really famous big giant street
like the British oppression. Yeah,
the
Britons are the ones that created Israel with the Balfour Declaration in 1919, I think.
Basically what this dude told me was anything that the Republicans would say, then the I forgot the other factions, the opposition, would say the exact opposite. And so when you look at the peace wall, you can see like Black Lives Matter. On the other side, it's like Donald Trump. And it's just like, what does any of that have to do with Ireland and Irish politics? And this dude told me nothing. It was funny. This young guy who grew up here, he was like, and he was a kid in the 90s with all of like the bombings and everything going on. He was like, they just hate each other. They hate each other and they want reasons to hate each other. So no matter what the other side does, they do the opposite and justify their hatred for the other side.
Sounds familiar.
That's why segregation is bad. It's why we want to be like, are you an American? I'm an American. Great. America good.
Yeah, I remember probably like 8 months ago, when this identity stuff started really getting heavy. Yeah, like I don't know if it was 8 months ago, but I started to have this wave of feeling like, oh, you're gonna tell me to go away and not accept me. Fine. Like I wanted to I almost gave over to the dark side of like, fine, I'll just go join some white I'm not playing that game.
Well, it's been brewing for a long time though. I mean, even at Occupy Wall Street, they were like, if you're a white man, you can't speak. Yeah. They used to say that all the time. They'd be like, shut up, white man.
I loved it because they would tell me that and then I go, I'm mixed race. And they would go, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I remember I would cover like protests and stuff and they would be like, all the white people covering protests need to go to the back. And then the people of color go to the front. And I'm like, well, I'm Puerto Rican. Can I go somewhere in the middle? What do I do?
And they'd say, no.
Yeah. They were
Shut
like,
up.
you're white.
I'll tell you exactly why I don't like any of this stuff. So, and I bring this up too, because there's like, I think it's fair to say it was more of a meme a couple of years ago. Tim Pool is mixed race. I don't really say it all that often. But with this stuff coming up, I have to. Because I have to make it explicitly clear to all the leftists when they create their racial affinity groups, can I just ask, which one do I get to be in? Because the answer is none of them. And I experienced this firsthand at Occupy Wall Street when they created all their little communities, different communities based on race. And when I was like, so which one do I go to? They said, F you. That was it. They're like, we don't care. We don't like you. Robin DiAngelo, apparently I was talking to Carl Benjamin from the Lotus Eaters podcast about her book, White Fragility. And he was like, she basically admits like they have no answer to mixed race people at all. So like, why would I allow racial segregationists to make me into a second-class citizen? I'm never gonna stand for it. These people are psychotic. Mm-hmm. The only thing that unifies me with everybody else is basically America. I'm an American. I mean, I'm a human. We're all humans. Mm-hmm. I'm down for that. Can we get like an alien invasion or something so that we unify like an Independence Day or something?
Probably.
I mean, maybe that's what's happening. But
it's going to be Martians and Earth and Terrans basically if we're not careful.
If we colonize Mars?
Yeah, interplanetary conflict. We got to be careful.
Could you imagine like Elon Musk moves to Mars and then in like a couple hundred years, it's all the descendants of Musk and they're like the tribe of Musk. And it's like a militaristic South African,
Muskians.
Strange people.
The Musk clan.
Yep.
God, don't make
and they all talk like this. We're coming to invade your planet.
Like robots, South African robots.
Kind of like robots. I don't know how Elon Musk talks. Is that how he talks?
Pretty much,
kind of.
Dude, I'm worried about the future.
I don't think that these groups are going to go the way they think they're going to go. I think they are going to come up with a bunch of white supremacists because I think you're right. I think they're just closeted white supremacists, much like Robin DiAngelo.
I think it's on purpose.
Yeah,
I almost hope that people go ahead and say, yeah, being white is great, because it really upsets me watching, like, I have a child, and so I see like Cartoon Network commercials and stuff that. And they're just constantly being like, if you're white, you're bad. If you're white, you're bad. And I think that's a horrible message to give to any child. They can't control their skin color.
But he does.
And it bothers me on like a really deep level that I'm seeing my child watching this stuff where they're saying that she's evil. Like, my daughter didn't participate in slavery or, anything like that. She doesn't care what color somebody is. And they're targeting children with this stuff constantly. And the right doesn't target children at all with any political stuff because they believe that the children should be left out of it. And so they're playing on a fighting field that we're not even touching. And it scares me. Like, I don't think that children should be told to hate themselves based on their skin, no matter what color they are.
Yeah.
And they're targeting all these white children constantly with like, you're white, you're bad.
Yeah,
you're white, you're bad.
But I
hate it.
I think on the surface, we adults see that and say, oh no, these kids are going to internalize this and hate themselves. I don't think so. I think kids rebel. And I think you put these kids in white racial affinity groups and then tell them how bad they are. And they're going to be like, nah, we're cool.
Team up.
And then they're going to say the opposite of what the adults say, as children do when they rebel.
Yep.
I mean, I was reading about the natural cycle of like youth and rebellion and the importance of it for human civilization. That the youth needs to challenge the tradition of the old to make sure there's constantly some kind of societal change, lest the society grows stagnant and then collapse. So let's say you have, it's kind of like evolution. The slow changes allow for an opportunity to improve the greater. So the youthful generation is always challenging the older generation and trying to change things, make things better. And sometimes things don't change and sometimes they do. So you have a bunch of kids who are constantly rebelling against the older generation. I think it was Socrates, I'm not entirely sure, who complained about how the kids...
Yes.
Was it Socrates?
Yeah, I think so.
He was like, the kids don't listen to their elders. They're rambunctious and disrespectful. They're all reading books or something like that. It's really, really funny to read that because it's like, wow, humans never changed.
But the problem is that their favorite YouTubers are saying it. Their favorite celebrities are saying it. And so it's different than like parents and like stuffy old teachers saying it. They're seeing it from people that they think are cool.
But I still think what's going to happen is it's going to breed a very large sect of the alt-right. It's going to breed. So the way I put it earlier is you have 60% of this country that is white. Let's say a small percentage of them are woke leftists who actually watch this stuff. Because like I think it's fair to recognize most people don't know anything about this, including, Latinos who have no idea what Latinx means. Like 97% are like, what? I don't know what that means. So how many white people actually understand the woke stuff? Probably not that many. Of those who do, how many are on the left? So what? You end up with like 10% of the people falling for this. But then what happens when the other 10% who hate it, are also in these groups? I'll put it this way. Every single kid who hears this is not necessarily going to just agree with it. You'll get some amount of disagreement. They are breeding white supremacists, kids who will say, no, you're wrong. I actually think it is better, or things like that. The other issue is that if they keep doing this and eventually regular working class Americans who just happen to be white feel threatened and aggrieved, well, then they'll start voting based on race. And that's apparently what they want. And then guess what? Congratulations, 60% of the country is not going to vote based on race. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.